$8 eggs. Americans are feeling it at the grocery store, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture is predicting egg prices will just keep climbing. The hike forcing restaurants to introduce egg surcharges in many cases. A major factor, of course, behind egg prices is the bird flu. So far this year, more than 32 million birds have been affected. The price for a dozen eggs was already on the rise under President Biden, $4.61 on January 10th. Now a dozen eggs costing you $8.07. That's up 75% this year. For the very latest on the economy, we're bringing in Market Rebellion co-founder and renowned market analyst, John Najarian. John, it's so good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. And we're talking about this eggs up more than 75% already this year. Are we going to be looking at $10 eggs, or when can we expect prices to crack?
And I love the pun, whether it was intended or not.
Very intentional, very intentional.
Thank you, Natasha. The last part of that question is the easiest one to answer, and that is when you've got, as you say, 32 million hens or egg layers affected, you're going to take about 6 months to replace that. And that's just because you can't really speed up how fast a chick goes from basically being a chicken that comes out of the egg into an egg layer. So we've lost 20 to 25 million hens that can no longer produce. They had to be sacrificed or whatever because of the avian flu. So you're really looking right now at about June. It's about 6 months, that replacement cycle. So not a lot you can do, but I'm sure that we will be bringing in a lot more eggs from the Netherlands and from Canada. Yeah, Canada, believe it or not, is one of the biggest producers that brings eggs to us. And the good news for us is they're relatively close, and they're not getting anywhere near the $7.75 or $8 for eggs up in Canada. So they'll be more than happy to send them down to us.
Yeah, but before June, how expensive are you expecting eggs to get? Are we talking $10, $12? What are you tracking?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, the jump has been so dramatic already, Natasha, that I would think that we're, like I say, going to see supply meet demand. When the United States supply dwindled as it did, you and I just discussed, it has to be replaced by something or prices just keep going up. I think it will be replaced by eggs from, as I say, Canada first, Netherlands second, several other countries after that, because they'll take advantage of it the same way that an oil-producing country would take advantage of a spike in oil prices. If it wasn't in their neck of the woods, they'd certainly ship that oil to where they could get more money for it. So supply and demand still works. And unfortunately, this avian flu is what drove prices 75% higher than January.
Yeah, and it's not just eggs, right? Americans getting slammed on food prices at the grocery store. You know, food is more expensive right now than during the pandemic. How long do you expect this sort of gut punch at the grocery store to last?
Well, again, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people have gotten used to a certain amount of dining out. And of course, they're competing with restaurants for many of these foodstuffs. Luckily, the rest of them aren't nearly as affected as eggs have been. So I don't really expect the rest of food prices to be such a major contributor to consumer prices, Natasha. I think more or less we're going to see consumers finding alternatives to eggs in the short term. And then as more and more Canadian and so forth eggs come in to meet the demand, I think prices will be coming down at both the restaurant level and at the consumer level. But when energy's high, as it has been, and when, of course, basically where you live, whether, in California, Western North Carolina, Florida, a lot of pressures that are inflationary have been pushed because of basically human needs to have a roof over your head. And that is one of the big contributors that can't go away as quickly as the egg prices can come down.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.